Welcome to day 7 of the 21 days Money Mindset Adventure. Coach Paz here, your Money Mindset coach. Today, we are going to talk about faith and wealth. The reason that faith comes before wealth is because you gotta have faith before you can acquire wealth. This is just how the way it goes. And you can ask all the wealthy people what they had before, wealth or faith. You'll get the answer pretty quick. There's for faith. And we're going to cover this more extensively within this lesson. But for now, just know that. Now, I understand that when people hear the term faith, they immediately associating it with religion. And I can also understand why. Because faith is most commonly used in religious contexts. But today, we're going to address faith a little bit differently, in a way that will not be related into any type of religion. And the other day I Googled faith. I wanted to know what it means. And it's the complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And I love that because it's so true. That someone can be Jesus for you, or that something can be God for you. Whatever it is, I remember Dr. Joe Vitale, he called it the great something. We're going to talk about Dr. Joe during this lesson. And he called it the great something. Now, I don't really care how you call it, but you got to believe in something, because within your journey to acquire financial abundance, you will be put to the test. Your faith will be put to the test. Your back will be kind of like against the wall. And the only thing you can rely on is your faith. And I will say it again, all great people who acquired wealth will tell you that. And some people, the 3%, that grew up wealthy, probably did not need to have this amount of faith to build their wealth. But if you're one of the 97%, which I probably assume you are, that needed and also need to start a business or have an idea and put all of your kind of eggs in one basket, where you have all of your faith in your idea, you got to have faith that it's going to work. And all the other people with the 97%, they had faith that their idea will actually work. I started so many businesses without money because I had faith that are going to work. And they did. They did most of them, not all of them, but still, faith is the first thing. We're going to cover that much more in this lesson. So without further ado, I want to introduce today the concept of how to harness the power of faith to create wealth. It's going to be one of the best lessons. You're going to love this one even more than you love the previous ones. Let's get into it. Let's start with why you must have a very strong faith as a foundation for you to build wealth on. Now, when you understand the why, the what and the how gets easier. And you're going to need the why here. And I'm going to tell you also why. Because on your journey of acquiring financial abundance, you're going to, first of all, set a vision. And your vision will be big and great and beautiful. And then you're going to start breaking it down into goals. And you start moving towards your goals. Once you start moving towards your goals, something's going to happen. Because you're going to start looking around you. And you probably will not going to see what you need to achieve your goals. You will not have the resources or even the skills to get you there. And the only thing that you're really going to have is faith at this point. By the way, this phase in the entrepreneurial world, we call it the no man's land, where you understand that you've done all you can and you need to rely on faith, because there is nothing else for you to do when you're like, I did everything I could. What else? This is where faith comes in. And faith, by the way, it's the third stage out of 4 stages of awakening. And I want to walk you through the 4 stages of awakening. It's a concept that I learned from Dr. Joe Vitale from his beautiful book, The Awakening Course. And he talks about the 4 stages of awakening, which the first stage is victimhood, where you say to yourself, why me? It's always happening to me. I don't get a lucky break. Everything is falling apart just for me. Everybody else is doing well. And you victimize yourself. We've all been there. That's okay. It's okay to be there, but it's not okay to stay there. The second stage is empowerment, where you start looking for answers because you don't want to be a victim anymore. And you start looking for answers. And you start finding answers with podcasts, with books, with courses just like this. And you say to yourself, oh, wow, I can actually put it off. It can actually work. There is a way out. You can see the light. Start seeing the light of the end of the tunnel. And you become hopeful. This is where you feel very much empowered. And the third stage, like I said, it's faith. And you get to the third stage of faith by taking actions on the second step, which is empowerment. And once you start taking actions, you say to yourself, okay, I've done all that I could. And you start trying this, trying that, coming up with plans, and something that I like to call exhausting your resources, which you call all of your leads. You do all that you can, all that you could possibly can, and then you say to yourself, there is nothing else that I can do. Now I gotta surrender it to the divine power. And Dr. Joe Vitale is calling it the great something. The great something. I call it God, like I already told you. So you leave it to God, you leave it to the great something, and then you just rely on it. Once you're in this phase and you start, like I said, you take the actions, things start happening. You cannot stay stagnant. Things will start happening. And you dance between the second stage and the third stage. Faith and empowerment. Faith and empowerment. Don't fall into back to victimhood. Because if you fall back into victimhood, this is not a good place for you to attract anything, and it's not a good place for you to grow. If you say to yourself, oh, why me? It doesn't work, and you lose faith, and you back to victimhood, you back to square one. And this is where usually, by the way, many people just go back to, and they give. This is why most people give up, because they don't hold on enough in the third stage of faith. When you hold on long enough, it's gonna come to you. You're not gonna get it. It's gonna come to you by the actions and the faith that you have, by the actions that you take and the faith that you hold within your heart. That is all there is to it. And I remember the other Dr. Joe Dispenza says that your thoughts are carrying the electrical charge and your feelings carry the magnetic charge. And the way you think and the way you feel creates your state of being and actually broadcasts into the universe an electromagnetic field that draws back things to you. By the way you think, it's electric. Your thoughts are electric. So when you think about something, you are sending a signal, and your emotions are magnetic, and they pull the signal back. And this is exactly the same thing. Like theologists and scientists speak about the same thing in different terms. Here we talk about faith. Dr. Joe Dispenza proved that scientifically, that your thoughts electric, feelings magnetic. By the way you feel, the way you think, you create your reality. It's been proven with so many different aspects. For now, I don't want to confuse you with too much information, but I understand there is theologians that prove that to be true, and scientists that prove that to be true. So there is no other point of reference that I know of. Okay? So just understand that. And the fourth stage, it's awakening. It's enlightenment, where you get what you wanted. And you understand that all of your efforts were well invested. And that's it. This is the stage when you're like, okay. Then when you reach this fourth stage, you're no longer going back to being a victim anymore. You start feeling and you start acting and you start looking at the world as a victor, not as a victim anymore, because you say, I remember the four stages. I remember that I cannot go back to being a victim because I am empowered and I have faith, and I will wait for my awakening and enlightenment, and I will wait for this fourth stage. And that's it. That's all you need. Now, I want to read from one of my favorite books. I will share with you some books that I love. Of course, this is a sign of getting rich, where I want to read to you how to embody faith. Because once you embody faith, sweet. It's so sweet. Let me read it for you. Wallace Waddle says, if you fix upon your consciousness the fact that the desire you feel for the possessions of riches is one with the desire of omnipotence for more complete expression, your faith becomes invincible. And I'm going to read it one more time slowly, and I'm going to narrate, because if you fix upon your consciousness, which means think about it, the fact that your desire, the desire that you feel for the possession of riches, you want to be wealthy, is one with the desire of omnipotence, which means God, for more complete expression, your faith become invincible, which means that whatever you want, God wants for you. It's not you want it, that God and the universe want something else for you. It's God that want to express himself within through you. So when you understand that what you want and what God, the universe, Jesus, Allah wants, it's the same thing, and this desire that you have, it's one with the desire of the great something, you start feeling much more empowered, and you say to yourself, whoa, I am not alone here. Because you're not alone. And there is this amazing power working within through you, wanting for you to become the best version that you can be. So understand that this is not two powers. This is a power that is, like I said, working and seeking expression within through you, because we are all spiritual beings having a spiritual, physical beings having a spiritual experience, spiritual beings having a physical experience. And when we understand that we are spirit within a body, something within us loosened, because we understand that there is something that wants to express itself through us, just like a seed of, let's say, a seed of a tree, of an oak tree. When you plant it in the soil, it wants to grow. We have a seed within us, and this seed is our dreams, our desires. These are the seeds that God has given to us. These are our gifts, and it's our obligation to open them up and use them. All right, now I would like to read from another book, Think and Grow Rich, because I want to help you cultivate faith and how to actually also apply it. We're going to talk about it, but I want you to understand how to cultivate faith and understand that faith is a state of mind. And Napoleon Hill talked about it in his book, Think and Grow Rich, which I'm going to read for you right now. And then we're going to talk about it, because it's very important for you to understand this concept at this point. Napoleon Hill said, faith is a state of mind which may be induced by autosuggestion. All down the ages, the religiousness have admonished struggling humanity to have faith in this, that, and the other dogma or creed. But they have failed to tell people how to have faith. They have not stated that faith is a state of mind and that it may be induced by self-suggestion. In language which any normal human being can understand, we all describe all that is known about the principle through which faith may be developed where it does not already exist. Have faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. Before we begin, you should be reminded again that faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. The foregoing sentences is worth reading a second time, and a third time, and a fourth. It's worth reading aloud. Faith is the starting point of all accumulations of riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. Faith is the element, the chemical, which when mixed with prayer gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence, also known as God. Faith is the element which transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the finite mind of man into the spiritual equivalent. Faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by men. Every one of the foregoing statements is capable of proof. I absolutely love that, and I know that you love that too. And I hope that it gives you more understanding and deeper understanding of why faith is so vitally important on your journey to acquiring wealth. Now I want to talk to you about another concept on how can one actually have faith is by taking faithful actions, because you cannot learn how to swim just by reading a book about swimming, right? You cannot. You got to actually go into the water. So I want to take you into the water and invite you to take faithful action. Now, faithful action can be whatever it means to you. Faithful action, for example, for me, when I put a down payment on my home, I didn't have the rest of the money. That was a faithful action. When I moved to a different country, I didn't have the money. That was a faithful action. For many people, they tell me that investing in a mentor, investing in something that actually can help them develop, that was a faithful action. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I don't want you to think that a faithful action is to spend the money on something like clothes or impress people that you don't even know or don't even care about. Faithful action is investing in yourself and investing in something that can yield dividends for you. This is what it is. And the best investment that you can ever make is in yourself. You can create riches with your mind. And I remember when I was homeless, I get emotional almost every time I talk about it, but when I was homeless, I remember that I said to myself, you can take away everything from me. And they did. And everything, all my material possessions were gone. One thing was still there. It was my mind. It was the way that I think. And maybe your faithful action was to buy this course, which I believe that you're very glad you did. So I want to invite you to take faithful action. Whatever it means, again, for you. Make sure that your faithful action is something that will help you grow as a human being. Don't be reckless and don't be, I see many people just buy things to impress people they don't even know and don't even care about. And I care about you, and I want you to become the best version of yourself. And for you to become the best version of yourself, you can do it through books, courses, and mentors. These are the most effective ways that I know. So I'm inviting you to take faithful action. If you need our help, we are always here for you, and you know that. I don't even need to say it. Now, this is now we are in day 7, and you have $25,000 to invest in yourself. I want you to use it wisely, as I say all the time. And when you do, tap into the feeling of it. What it will be like investing in mentorship. What it will be like investing in further education on yourself. That's very important. Even hiring a personal trainer to get you in better shape. These kind of things. You are taking faithful actions, and sometimes you are hiring the trainer and you don't have all the money for the whole month, but you do have the start, and you start faithful action. And I want you to leave in the comments below, what is faithful action to you? What does it mean to you? And what is your biggest takeaway from this lesson? Because I bet you have many, and I want you to share just some to inspire others. With that said, you guys, I want to say thank you for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for caring about yourself, because once you care about yourself, you immediately empowering those around you. Immediately. And I know that you are the one who will break the chain of poverty in your family if this is the case. And if this is not the case, you're the one who will build wealth in your family. Thank you so much, you guys. Much love and prosperity. See you again tomorrow. Peace out.